Hey guys, this is Chase with Ice Warehouse. I'm here in Montreal with CCM Stick Category Manager Catherine Ward. We've got your new Trigger 3D line in front of us. Before we start talking about specs, how would you describe maybe the flex profile and the style of play it's geared for?
So the RibCor is actually a low kick point, so it's really designed to optimize quickness of release. So for players that are really in tight, want to get it upstairs, or really are maximizing the speed of release, that's really the stick for them.
So those players looking to get the puck off as quick as possible and probably tend to stay pretty close to the net while they're shooting, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's talk about this new 3D. It has an awesome balanced feel in the hands, and it seems like that has to do with the new ExoFlow, or what is it called?
Yeah, exactly, the XFlow technology. So it's actually a molding technology that we've introduced on the AS1, but we brought also to the Trigger 3D. So it helps with the compaction, but also it helps reduce the weight of the stick because of the way the resin flows. So by doing that, we're able to, one, make the blade lighter, but as durable, and the same thing with the shaft.
All right. And it looks like we did see some changes as far as the construction in the shaft goes. Can you maybe touch on that and maybe how that benefits the players now?
Yeah, in the past we've really focused on the taper and the geometry of the pop matrix. So the last thing that was left to optimize is really the transition area. So what we've done is made it a little bit more gradual to make the energy transfer more efficient and more gradual. So it also helps with the XY ratio, which is super important when loading the stick.
And that's for, so maybe someone that doesn't know much about the XY ratio, that's basically the flex rating on the front and back compared to the top and bottom, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you're too stiff on the vertical, so meaning on the front, you're going to have trouble really loading the stick and bringing it in. So having the right ratio really helps with, especially for quick releases, loading the stick as efficiently as possible.
And then so maybe compared to what we saw in the previous generations of RibCor, can you maybe explain how it's a little bit more gradual as far as, you know, the connection point here?
So in terms, we still have the pop matrix technology, but it's a little bit more gradual. So in the previous versions, what you had is you have the normal shaft, but it would go right into really that concave shape. So now it's just a little bit more gradual again to make it more seamless.
And more efficient as far as energy transfer and everything else goes, right?
Exactly.
So let's talk about the blade a little bit. You know, this has always been one of the more softer blades until this new jet speed came out. But you know, what did you guys do differently this year on the blade?
So we really wanted to keep the stiffness story to the blade. We feel like the softness at the heel is really important because it is a stick that's made for danglers. So keeping it a softer section, but really working on stiffening the toe. More and more players are really shooting off the toe, so having that stiff toe really helps control the puck and get the puck off quickly.
So you kind of accentuated that flex profile that you already had, right?
Exactly.
And then what about the new kind of material that we're going to find on the face? What was that for?
So it's really, one, it helps in terms of the manufacturing. It helps really get a more consistent finish also. But also in terms of the feel, some players actually, even though you put tape, like the extra adhesion it gives. So it's just a little addition that has benefits in terms of the manufacturing, but also for players.
All right, well, let's talk about this Pro 3 PMT. What are a couple key features we're going to find here?
So it's still gonna, it will feature the new transition area. So again, for a more efficient energy transfer. We've also introduced a new blade, so it's built after the blade that's on the Trigger 2.
Is that the Ascent 2?
Exactly, the Ascent 2, but it's featuring a C6 basket weave, again, for that torsional stiffness. And yeah, that's going to be your Trigger Pro, which we've actually improved the weight and the balance point also. And
so let's talk about the weights real quick. What's the weight of the Trigger 3 as well as the Pro 3?
So the Trigger 3 comes in around 410, 415 grams, but the balance point is really something that we've worked on. And this one, the weight is around 450 grams with a really amazing balance point too. Something that I wanted to mention also on the Pro is we've increased the level of carbon. So compared to last year, there's now more carbon in the stick, which really gives it a more performance and more durable.
For sure,
stick, so.
Kind of the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
Do we still find that reinforcement that we saw in the 2017 CCM sticks in the heel and the toe? Do we find that on both these
Yeah,
too?
we're bringing those changes to those sticks too.
Perfect. Well, as always, thanks for coming out here, filling us in. And then for you at home that want to check out more of these new CCM RibCor Trigger 3 sticks, make sure you go to inlineandicewarehouse.com.